Hashtag Young Gang got her again.
It's hard too because it gets dark so early now. It's going to be even worse next week once we do the fall back. Once we get out of daylight saving.
Well, yeah, because like right now it's what 7 p.m. and we're gonna fall back.
It's pitch black.
Yeah, it's pitch black, and so it's gonna be 6. Like in just a week or so, it'll be 6 in this dark. So like sunsets at 4 p.m. now.
I mean, it starts getting twilight around 4:30 or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, well, honey, are you ready to learn more about Jesus in the Bible today? Because we got a lot of shit.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so last time Jesus taught us that the more we sin, the more we love and appreciate him. So we really just all need to sin as much as we can to show the most love that we can for Jesus.
Perfect. And then deathbed confession.
I mean, well, no, I mean, like you got to sin. Like I feel like it's you know Jesus and everything like that, and so like to show him love, you just sin as much as you can.
Oh,
and then you ask for forgiveness, like sort of in parallel.
Oh, like at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like how the Catholics do.
I was just thinking, live your life and do whatever the fuck you want, and then deathbed confession, and bam, you're good. Like that makes sense, right? That's justice.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think the Catholics really have it nailed on this particular point because I mean, you just do whatever the fuck you want, act all pious, and then you ask for forgiveness. Nailed.
Like Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. Also, last week, Jesus talked a lot of shit about John the Baptist, and he tells us everything is forgivable except for shitting on the Holy Spirit, because that's beyond the pale right there. That's just crossing a line. Right. So anyways, this week, Jesus is coming in strong, giggity, by calling the Pharisees out on their hypocrisy. He teaches them basic shit about God that they should really already know. And then Jesus condemns lawyers as the blood-sucking shitheads that they are. Although I do kind of appreciate my divorce lawyer. He was pretty good.
You won't need him again.
No. I needed him the one time and I was appreciative, and we've parted ways. Anyways, then the Jewish leaders try to trap Jesus in his own bullshit, but Jesus slept at a Holiday Inn the night before, so he knew that they were fucking with him. Next, he screamed more about hypocrisy, specifically the Jews' hypocrisy.
It's a Holiday Inn Express.
Holiday Inn Express?
Yeah, regular Holiday Inn won't do it. It's a Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, well, I'll fuck that up. Anyways, he claims, Jesus claims that you should fear God and not man because God will burn you in hell, whereas man can only kill you. I mean, that's true, I guess, if you're a Christian. Next, Jesus is going to rich shame a stuck-up rich dude. He tells him that you should give away all your shit if he really wants Jesus's attention, to which then all the Republicans scoff and say, well, not my Jesus. My Jesus says keep all your shit and extort the poor for more money.
Yeah, God wants me to have another plane.
Yep, or a support yacht. Jesus then says not to worry about the earthly shit like eating and taking care of yourself, and just worry about what God will do to you if you don't get his $3.50 every Sunday. Then he talks cryptically about the Messiah, about when the Messiah is coming, and spoiler, it's him and he's going to die. Jesus then says that everyone needs to adhere to his father's crazy ass and random ass rules, or they'll be burning in hell for all of eternity. So, nice Sunday message there. Jesus then shifts the dinner conversation to how he's going to turn people against each other. He's going to pit father and son against each other in an all-out cage match refereed by John Cena. Bum, bum, bum.
I don't know how that's going to work because you can't even see that guy.
I thought it was only when he moved his hand in front of his face. Or is that just him signaling you can't see me? Which is kind of funny when you think about it, because you wouldn't be able to see him do that. Is he doing the hand thing? He's doing the hand thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fuck if I know. He's invisible.
We can see his ass.
Anyways, Jesus then gets frustrated that people don't recognize his signs faster, and he calls them idiots. He says that it's very urgent that you acknowledge how great he is, and people have got to do it right now before they all burn in hell. It's very hell oriented kind of today with the burning in hell thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, in frustration, Jesus slams his fist down at the dinner table, knocks over all of the wine.
That's just
I guess.
so.
Yeah, he really is. Jesus noticed, like in his rage, he noticed a nearly crippled woman who in the corner, and so he went and he banished the bad posture demon and cured her. Then the Pharisees got really pissed because that's kind of their job at that point. So they complained about it being the Sabbath and that Jesus was insulting God. Then Jesus got all big and shit and screamed, "Don't tell me what pisses God off, you little shit." To which then he reminded everyone of the SummerSlam coming up, hosted by John Cena. Bum, bum, bum.
That it?
Two unexpected John Cenas. Yeah, and that's actually it. It was a very awkward dinner that they had. Because
I thought I had awkward family dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just don't go to them anymore, but
Is it you don't go to them or you're not invited?
I don't know because I don't talk to them anymore.
Could be invited, could care less. Or couldn't care less.
Could
care
not
less.
care less.
Anyway, so yeah, that's all for the Bible today. I hope you guys learned something.
No, we're gonna have to read it.
What?
Yeah, we're gonna have to read it.
Why? Why?
Damn good and well, John Cena is not in the Bible.
He might be. We wouldn't be able to see him if he was.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. But we're just gonna read it. Just do our thing.
Okay. What's up, heathens?
How y'all doing?
So we've got to go over things because apparently it's not correct. There's still a SummerSlam hosted by John Cena, though. I'm just telling you guys, you got to catch it.
In autumn, there's
Jesus is gonna do like a flying elbow drop, and it's just gonna be magical.
That's not his. That's not his move.
What would Jesus' special move in wrestling be?
I don't know. The crucifixion.
Maybe no. Easy.
He'll really
here it
pin
is
him.
at SummerSlam. What?
He'll really pin him.
Yeah. Look, no. Here's what it is. Setting the stage, right? Like Jesus gets thrown out the ring because he's getting his little Jewish ass kicked, and so, anyways, Jesus gets really pissed off and he reaches underneath the ring. You know what he pulls out? A cross. He gets up there into the ring and he goes, "I am fucking God," and then
he beats people with the cross.
He beats people. He breaks the cross over somebody's back and then he pins them.
Okay, so he doesn't hang people on
he's got a special pin move where he lays on top of them and he puts two fingers like in the center of their hands.
Okay, so we've got like stigma. Is that move called his stigmata?
It's just a special pin that he does.
Okay, it doesn't. They always have a name,
right? Ooh, the stigmata pin. Yes.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking like, what would you call that? Stigmata pin.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's your show now. I'll let you interject some real Bible shit into this.
Today we're going to be in Luke. We're just going to talk about Luke today. We don't have anything. I don't think we have anything else in any of the other Gospels. We're all in Luke. We start in chapter 11.
Can I just say, it's kind of funny how they're, sort of rationalizing all of the Gospels together, but yet we have an entire day where the only person that records anything is Luke.
Yeah.
Like, that seems right. Because you're trying to tell me that the other two people that are supposedly eyewitnesses to this shit didn't see any of this. And there's a lot of important shit as far as the theology of Christianity goes and everything like that. There's a lot of important shit in Luke. You're telling me that the other writers didn't see or hear about any of this shit?
It doesn't matter. We don't talk about that. It's like Bruno.
It's like Bruno. This is like Bruno to the other gospels. Yeah. We don't talk about this shit. No. This shit didn't happen.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, we're starting in Luke 11:37. All right, that's where we're starting.
Okay.
When Jesus had finished speaking, a Pharisee invited him to eat with him. So he went in and reclined at the table. But the Pharisee was surprised when he noticed that Jesus did not first wash before the meal. Then the Lord said to him, "Now then, you Pharisees clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You foolish people, did not the one who made the outside make the inside also?"
So wait a
that's
second.
how baking works.
Should I take this to mean that Jesus is a dirty fuck that's really rude? He comes in and he reclines all dirty and shit.
Yeah.
Like he's been working like out in the dirt, I guess, because it's Middle East. He's been working out in the dirt. He comes in, he puts his feet up on the table, and it's like, I just cleaned that. And he's like, yes, thank you for cleaning it for my feet.
Yeah. So he reclines at the table, which is nice. Okay, but also the person who made the outside makes the inside too, right? So that you're supposed to be generous to the poor and everything will be clean for you. So I guess he's saying what's on the inside is what counts. It doesn't matter if my hands or feet are clean when I eat with them.
Oh, okay.
Or put them on the table with the food, as it were.
I can just see somebody complaining to Jesus, like, Jesus, can you please go wash up before dinner? Look, I helped people today, so I'm clean on the inside. That's what counts.
If you're generous to the poor, your hands will be clean. That's all.
I don't have to worry about it. Never mind that I have to wipe with that hand.
Yeah. Woe to you, Pharisees, because you give God 1/10 of your mint, rue, and all other kinds of garden herbs, but you neglect justice and the love of God. So this here's saying your 10%, your tithe is not enough, right? You can't just give the money. You have to do other stuff. And he says, you should have practiced the latter without leaving the former undone. Woe to you, Pharisees, because you love the most important seats in the synagogue and respect greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, because you are like unmarked graves, which people walk over without knowing it. It's weird. One of the experts in the law answered him, "Teacher, when you say these things, you insult us also." Of course, a lawyer's going to be insulted.
I'm so insulted by you saying this shit.
Jesus replied, "And you experts in the law, woe to you, because you load people down with burdens they can hardly carry, and you yourselves will not lift one finger to help them."
Whoa.
What?
Who fucking laid down the law? Who overburdened people? Like, I think it was fucking God.
Yeah, that was G.O. motherfucking D.
I feel like he's a rapper now.
Yeah. Snoop God. I don't know. Anyway, he says lawyers don't help people, which I think is wrong, right?
Well, yeah, and it's not the lawyers.
Have to pay them enough.
Like, it's not the lawyers that are forcing people to follow the laws. I mean, it's probably the many times God has like severely punished the Jewish people that they're like, we got to follow these laws, or otherwise God will fuck us up again. Like, you remember that 400 years we were in slavery? What about that 70 years we were in Babylon?
Yeah, G-O-double-D.
Yeah.
Woe to you, because you build tombs for the prophets, and it was your ancestors who killed them. Now, listen, Jesus, we're supposed to be past this whole, sins to the fourth generation thing. That's supposed to be over. We're done with that, right? So what our ancestors did is on them.
Right.
So you testify that you approve of what your ancestors did. They killed the prophets and you build their tombs. Because of this, God in his wisdom said, "I will send them prophets and apostles, some of whom they will kill and others they will persecute." So God knowingly sent his prophets to people who he knew would kill them?
Yeah.
Rude.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it's because the prophets would be saying things that the Jewish elite didn't want to hear, or the Jews in general didn't want to hear. But it's also kind of curious because Luke is talking about here something that God said in the Old Testament, and typically the prophets of the Old Testament are seen as prefigures for Jesus, because Jesus is supposed to be the ultimate prophet. So like when people say that nobody expected, which this is just blatantly false, but nobody expected a suffering and dying Messiah, I really don't fucking understand that.
I don't either.
Because of verses exactly like this in Luke 11, 45 to 52, because God says, look, I'm going to send my prophets. They will be persecuted and killed. Well, he says that some be persecuted, some will be killed.
Yeah.
But of course, Jesus has to do both because he's better than all of them, I guess.
I mean, of course.
Whatever.
Right.
But the whole idea that they wouldn't be expecting this after that's what happened every single time God sent a prophet, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. It makes no sense to me either. Okay, so he says, therefore this generation will be held responsible for the blood of all the prophets that has been shed since the beginning of the world, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who was killed between the altar and the sanctuary. Yes, I tell you, this generation will be held responsible for it all. That's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Woe to you experts in the law, because you have taken away the key to knowledge. You yourselves have not entered, and you have hindered those who were entering. Okay. Anyway, when Jesus went outside, the Pharisees and the teachers of the law began to oppose him fiercely and to besiege him with questions, wanting to catch him in something he might say. This is not the kind of person, although I could see a lawyer doing this.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people are like lawyered.
Yeah.
Anyway, meanwhile, when a crowd of many thousands had gathered, this didn't happen, so that they were trampling on one another, Jesus began to speak first to his disciples, saying, be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. We know how much God and Jesus hate yeast. They can't deal with delicious, like fluffy risen bread. It's just a problem for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the Pharisees might have a yeast infection.
I mean, I don't know. They're not, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear of the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. That could be dangerous depending on who you're talking about. I tell you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that can do no more. Because that's not enough?
Well, not for them, because, there's an afterlife.
Oh, okay. So I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after your body has been killed, has the authority to throw you into hell. Fuck.
I mean, sure, if we could verify that was like a thing.
Where's this all-loving, merciful God?
I mean, obviously he's the one chucking people into hell.
Apparently. See, this is one thing we're going to take a quick break from this. When I was growing up and Catholic, I know a lot of people struggle still, even as they've left religion, with hell. A lot of people still struggle with hell. I never struggled with hell because I never believed in hell. Never. I never believed in it because I could not square, in my mind, a loving, merciful, forgiving God, as the Bible describes, sending his people, his children, who he loves, supposedly, to hell. Like, I just never could square that. That never made sense to me. So in my mind, hell never existed, because like, that's how I couldn't, a place like that could not exist if God was how they say he is. Of course, at that time I made up my mind about this fairly young, but I was young enough to where I hadn't actually read the whole Bible. I'd gotten the children's stories. So we didn't get all the bad shit, right? We got all the good shit. So I didn't know about this other side of God at that time when I decided that hell didn't exist.
Okay.
So, but even once I did, I still couldn't square the God they describe and in church and go with him sending us to a place of eternal torment. That just doesn't square for me.
Yeah. See, you're smarter than me in that respect, because like, I was told like, hey, you sin, you go to hell, kind of thing. And so I was just like, oh shit, really? And so like, I thought that every time I did something bad, like I was going to be going to hell.
Yeah, that just didn't make sense to me, because it doesn't make sense if God is this loving, merciful, forgiving dude that they say he is. That just doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think that my problem was that I never really thought all that deep into it. Like I just sort of, I mean, I hate to say it, but I just kind of just accepted it because it was taught to me as like, well, this is a fact of reality. Like,
Well, I mean, it was taught to me that way too. But like, even on the surface, those two things don't square.
Right. No, I get it. And I'm just saying that I didn't think deeper into it. So, I mean, that's a problem that I have with my childhood, is that like, I didn't actually, deeply consider what I believed or anything like that at the time. I was just, if somebody told me, hey, you'll go to hell if you sin. Oh, what's a sin? Oh, well, bad stuff. Oh, what's bad stuff? Oh, like
playing with your willy.
playing with your dick, or obviously the whole sex thing was a pretty big deal, like when I was going through puberty and stuff. But I mean, I think that's probably the first time that I really considered like sin. But I also got into the trap of thinking that like if something bad was happening to me, that was like God punishing me, like for sin.
And I mean, I think that's a common thing. And a lot of people, especially those who grow up in fire and brimstone kind of churches, or the more evangelical churches, or even honestly, a lot of them really teach you fear. They teach you fear of God. And so they use fear a lot to control people. And one of the sinful things to do is question, right? You cannot question, that's a sin. And so questioning is really looked down upon. And they don't tend to answer those. I know that from experience. I used to get in trouble all the time for asking questions. So I'm sure that's my first ticket, like my first punch on my hell card was bitch asked too many questions in Bible school. So, was my first punch, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, are we ready to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So, crowd of many gathered. Let's see. I tell you, do not be afraid. Okay. So, I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after your body has been killed, has the authority to throw you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies?
That's pretty good for sparrows there.
I know, probably not anymore. I mean, with inflation and everything else, I can't.
Also, they had pennies back then?
I mean, of some sort.
I mean, they've got so many different ways of like measuring
describing currency.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yet not one of them is forgotten by God. The sparrows are not forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is much of a guy problem as much as it is a person with longer hair problem. I shed. And so like, is there like some sort of like tally board up there where like when I brush my hair and like some comes out, like that the count is updated?
I mean, God knows all. He probably probably doesn't need a board.
Oh.
He just knows it.
Oh, that's a weird thing to have to like.
Just general knowledge of.
Yeah, that's.
She's lost 5,922 hairs in her life.
Yeah, that's
hell
weird.
for you.
Don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows.
Oh, thank God I'm worth more than a sparrow.
Many sparrows. 5 sparrows are 2 pennies. So I don't know how many sparrows are, but honey, you are worth at least more than 2 pennies. You're welcome for the boost in confidence.
That's a good bargain
that the
right
Bible has given you, telling you that you're worth more than a lot of sparrows.
Yeah.
Yes, you're welcome. I tell you, whoever publicly acknowledges me before others, the Son of Man will also acknowledge before the angels of God. But whoever disowns me before others will be disowned before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. Yeah, we know.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. There you go. When you are, I can't do the speaking in tongues like you do.
Oh, okay. Shamalama ding dong.
Yeah, how did I forget shamalama ding dong? When you are brought before the synagogues, rulers, and authorities, do not worry about how you will defend yourselves or what you will say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you at that time what you should say. So there's like you got a thing in your ear, like a little bug in your ear that tells you this is what you should say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide his inheritance with me." This seems petty. This just seems really petty. Jesus, I need your help. I understand that this bitch over here can't stand up straight, but I really want half of my father's shit because he died. Can you help me with that?
This it does seem incredibly petty. Like this is like a Judge Judy thing.
This is what you need a lawyer for. Yeah. This is what you need a lawyer for. Go to the talks to the lawyers. Okay. All right, so tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. Jesus replied, man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you? Then he said to them, I mean, that's a fair point. He's not an arbiter between people. He's like, this is bullshit, which is pretty much what I said. So Jesus and I are on the same page here. Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions.
Oh no, it makes it easier though.
Yeah. I mean, money can't buy you happiness, but it does make life easier in many, many ways. Okay.
Yeah.
And he told them this parable. Jesus and his parables, you know, he loves them. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take like easy, eat, drink, and be merry. I mean, this sounds reasonable. This is like a person who grew enough shit and took care of his family, made sure they had enough supplies stockpiled, and then he can take a break. I don't know what's wrong with this. Do you?
No, other than how long will grain just sort of lay there? Like
in a silo, like to stay in the bar. I don't know. I don't know how long like raw grain like stays good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess
mean, if
mold
it's
isn't a
dried,
problem.
Probably not in the Middle East.
Okay.
In Alabama, yeah, hell yeah.
Alabama, it's a problem. Middle East, no problem.
No
Got
problems.
it. Okay.
But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. That's excessive. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? Probably the two sons or one of the sons, or whoever your inheritance comes from, but definitely not your daughters.
Right.
Yeah. This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God. I don't understand their problem with like making sure you have stuff. You know what I always make sure we have plenty of since COVID started? Like I learned this. Toilet paper. We always have a fuck ton of toilet paper, like lots. Like lots of toilet paper, like not an entire room full, but plenty to make sure we don't run out. That's what, and I'm not going to feel sorry for that. Now, if my neighbor over here was like, hey, we're completely out of toilet paper. I'm trying to find some, but to bridge the gap, can we have a roll?
I'd be like, you've got a hand.
What?
Come on, Randall.
Plenty.
Wipey.
I've got plenty. So I'm going to give Randall a fucking roll of toilet paper, right? I'm not going to give Randall all my toilet paper, but I have enough, and I have enough because I prepared, right? So I don't see any problem with this.
No, well, I mean, I think it has more to do with, placing God first. So like you've got to place God first before you start storing shit up.
I'm sorry. God is not going to wipe my ass. He's not.
God will provide, honey.
No. You know what God didn't do during the pandemic? Make sure people had fucking toilet paper. So I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, you can continue.
Okay. I was just going to say, well, God kind of slept through the pandemic. Like there was a lot of shit he could have done that he didn't do.
Fair point. Fair point. There was a lot of shit that could have been done there. Right. Okay, so then Jesus said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food and the body more than clothes. Now that's fair. Life is more than food and your body is more than clothes.
Yeah, but I mean, you still need to worry about like eating and clothing yourself.
Yeah,
like,
and you got to feed your kids.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's important shit too.
If you just don't eat, eventually you will die.
I mean, you're talking about whether or not you're eating $100 steak every night versus like making a sandwich. Like, I mean, don't be like, I've got to have that $100 steak every night, I don't think that people need like $2,000 shoes or something like that necessarily. But I mean, like, you still need to worry about, having fucking shoes.
But also, if you make enough money to pay your bills and buy $2,000 pair of shoes, if that's what you want to buy, go fucking buy your pair of shoes.
Oh, yes, definitely. Like, I was not trying to like rich shame people, or not maybe not necessarily rich, but just like well-off shame people. I was just saying, like, in the context of what Jesus is saying here, like, I mean, yeah, there's more important things, but you still need like the basics.
Yeah. I mean, I would not buy a $2,000 pair of shoes. I couldn't justify to myself purchasing a $2,000 pair of shoes, no matter how much money I have, when I know how how many people $2,000 could feed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's something I can't really justify to myself.
I
wouldn't do that personally. But if you earn your money and you do your shit, like, you buy what you want.
Oh, I definitely justified my $4,000 PC. You don't need that. Oh, I differ. I beg to differ.
We'll see. Now you buy that and I will not buy $2,000 shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds fair.
All right. So let's see. Don't worry about your life. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. They're birds.
They feed them fucking selves by scavenging.
Right. They still go get food. God damn. They don't grow it. You know what they do? Take it from other people who do. Fucking bastards.
Damn, you got really offended by the murder of crows.
We're not killing crows. We're talking about ravens, first of all.
Well, is it ravens? Like a flock of ravens is called a murder, maybe?
No, that's crows.
Is it crows? Okay, sorry.
We're talking about ravens.
Got it.
Okay. So they don't have a storeroom, but God feeds them. I don't think so. They go and they get their food. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how much more valuable you are than birds. Okay. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Now, this is a fair point. I am a big subscriber of the idea that worrying is not going to help the situation. Now, does that stop people from worrying? Not necessarily, but worry just ages you. And so
I think it depends on what you're worrying about. Like, are you worried about where your next, like, where the next rent payment's coming from? Some people are worried about that, and I think that's a perfectly fine, like, thing to be concerned about. But I mean, like, there are some things that I think are, you know,
I'm just saying, instead of worrying, like, instead of putting your energies into worrying, put your energy into solutions. I'm a solutions person, so I don't spend a lot of time worrying about shit. I put my energy into solutions. Okay, I have this problem. How do I fix it? And like, I know it's a problem, but sitting around and worrying about it isn't actually going to solve anything. So I don't waste my time with that. But I know that's hard for a lot of people. Worrying is it's a plague on many people. I know. Okay, let's see. Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's justified to make sure that you can feed and clothe yourself. It's illegal to be outside running around naked, so you've got to have clothes. Like, I don't know. This part is ridiculous. Apparently, you're just supposed to trust God, and God will dress you in the morning. So don't try that and go outside. I'm just saying.
Maybe if you go outside and you're naked, people will throw clothes at you, and that's God providing.
Maybe. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Consider how the wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. Flowers don't wear clothes.
No, but I can guarantee you Joseph had that multicolored fucking coat.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, that's not a flower necessarily, but
flowers don't have clothes. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, you of little faith?
Man, I don't think God's clothing anybody.
And he's not clothing grass. Grass doesn't have clothes.
No.
Okay. Does he just mean like what their appearance? Like, I don't know. They don't need clothes. This isn't something that God provides to grass or flowers.
I'm not exactly sure what the point in these couple of things are as far as
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how clothes is relevant here, but I mean, flowers are pretty. Mm-hmm. Like, flowers look lovely. So God made lovely things, I guess, but I'm still not sure how this is relevant to clothing. We're lovely naked. Is that no? The point is clothes. God will clothe you.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. I guarantee you, if all of the Christians just gave away all their money, gave away all their possessions, and just sat somewhere and waited for God to provide for them, they're gonna be hungry.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be, they're gonna be arrested. So I guess they will be given clothes.
Or a sheet.
They'll be given, a prison jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that works, right? Oh, and 3 square meals.
Yeah.
They won't be allowed to stay in jail.
Probably not.
So I don't know.
Jails
I feel
are
like
kind of overcrowded as is.
Yeah, I feel like just trusting in God to provide everything for you is a bad plan. It's just a bad plan. I'm sorry, that's a bad plan. I don't see anything wrong with pagans running after food, making sure they have food. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. Pagans or anybody else. Okay. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. So now I understand the idea of doing things for other people. We do that all the time here on, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I fully support taking care of other people and trying to do your part. If you have extra, doing your best to try to make sure others have at least basics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any issue with that. But I also think that it's valid to make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well and your future and your children and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand, I feel like, I guess the whole point in this portion is don't be greedy, where if you treasure wealth, you'll be poor in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
But I don't really see, this seems kind of dichotomous to me. I don't see why you can't treasure wealth for whatever your reasons may be, as long as you are also a good person and take care of the poor. Like, you can be wealthy and provide for the poor and build your person heaven. Like, I feel like you can do both of these things.
You can.
So I don't see why.
Well, I mean, according to Jesus, you can't, but
yeah, I just don't understand why.
Well, I think that if you I think it might borderline on like putting something before God. Like, maybe that's what the problem is. Like, you're not putting God first.
But you can.
According to them, no, you can't.
I don't understand why.
Yeah, I know.
I would really like an explanation as to why you couldn't do this.
That would be nice to get that kind of
of
explanation, but I don't know.
Okay, we've got another parable. You ready?
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
Be dressed ready for service and keep your lamps burning, like servants waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. Truly, I tell you. I don't think they should be watching when that happens. Truly, I tell you, he will dress himself to serve, will have them recline at the table, and will come and wait on them. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the middle of the night or toward daybreak. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, this is a common thing about not knowing when the Messiah is going to be coming, giggity. But this whole parable right here is about how you have to hold fast to the Judeo-Christian principles that he's laying out, because at all times, because you never know when. Like, I guess you never know when Jesus is coming or when you're gonna die.
Yeah,
and be judged by God. So, like, you just need to you need to live Jesus 100%, 24/7, 365.
That's exhausting. But don't worry about anything except worry about God and fear him. Like, don't worry about a thing except for this thing. Then worry about that thing a lot. Weird. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. Truly, I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But I suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming.
Giggity.
And he then begins to beat the other servants, both men and women, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbelievers.
Okay.
So I guess the dude that's in charge best not take advantage, because he, despite what he may think, is not the master of the house. Yeah,
maybe this is speaking about how, the clergy or like the the ruling elite or whatever, the people that are in charge of the flock or whatever shouldn't be.
They
like,
shouldn't get holier than thou.
I guess maybe.
Yeah. The servant who knows the master's will and does not get ready or does not do what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted much, much more will be asked.
I mean, well, I don't understand the point about the servants that get beat with a lot of blows and a few blows.
Okay, so if you know the master's will, if you know God's will,
Right.
you know what God says and you know what he wants and you don't do it, you will be punished more harshly than the one who does not know God's will.
Oh, okay, I got you now.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mind skipped over the one that does not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does this, I wonder if this plays into like, there's the person that knows God's will and chooses not to do it, and so they get thrown in hell, right? But the one that doesn't know about God, like, does he just get thrown sort of in a hell light?
I don't know, maybe purgatory. Maybe they get a chance
really
to earn their way in. I don't know.
Is that punishment? Like, is purgatory punishment?
Yeah, because you're still separated from God.
I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that at this point.
Okay, you ready to continue?
Yes.
Okay. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. Damn.
Yeah.
But I have a baptism to undergo. And what constraint I am under until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law.
All streamed live on SummerSlam with host John Cena. Boom, boom, boom.
And you've got Dill against Mill.
What?
Dill against Mill. Daughter-in-law against mother-in-law.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
All right. So that'll be fun. That'll be super fun. He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say it's going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say it's going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites. What? You know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? I don't know. Maybe because your shit keeps changing, dude. Like, this is ridiculous. Also, you're super vague and speak in parables. Nobody fucking gets it. Why don't you just tell us? If you were consistent, like when the wind blows from the south, it's warmer. Like, that's consistent. That happens. But like, this shit's not consistent.
Well, I guess he's just chastising them because it's like, I'm very obviously the son of God, y'all. Like, I'm the Messiah. Like, I don't know how y'all can like even play right now. Like, come on. You know when it's going to rain. You know I'm going to rain hell on you. Okay?
I mean, I don't know. If he doesn't have God's holy light shining out of all his orifices, I don't know how we would know. So,
I mean, fair point. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah.
But he should.
Yeah. He's just got a little bit of a glowy thing going around his head. That's about it. I mean,
at least that's how they depict them.
And white.
Definitely white, near translucent.
Why don't you judge for yourself what is right? Oh, because we're not allowed to do that. So sorry. I'm so sorry. Did he just ask why we don't judge for ourselves what is right? We're not allowed to judge for ourselves. That's not our job.
And we're supposed to follow God, and you're supposed to tell us what's right. Like, what the fuck are you playing at?
Yeah, I don't know. This is weird. As you are going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled on the way, or your adversary might drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. That was a whirlwind. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. So he's saying make good with
bail?
your yeah. But he's saying instead of going to jail, just make nice. Play nice in the sandbox with your neighbors. Make peace so you don't have to go to jail.
Yeah, but I mean if you're already in trouble for something and they're taking you to a judge, I feel like at that point you're not going to be able to bribe the person.
I mean, maybe. Did you try?
I mean, I've never been in that situation, so no, I haven't tried.
Now there were some present at the time who told Jesus about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mixed with their sacrifices. Jesus answered, "Do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered this way? I tell you no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish. Or those 18 who died when the tower in Siloam fell on them. Do you think they were more guilty than all the others living in Jerusalem? I tell you no, but unless you repent, you too will all perish.
Yeah, you fucking sinners.
So you need to repent right now.
Repent or die, motherfucker.
Okay, we got another parable. You ready?
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
A man had a fig tree growing in his vineyard, and he went to look for fruit on it, but did not find any. So he said to the man who took care of the vineyard, "For 3 years now I've been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree and haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil?" Now, to be fair, depending on how old the fig tree is, it may or may not have fruit yet. It takes a while.
Yeah.
Fruit trees don't bear fruit right away.
Right.
So maybe he's just being impatient, but let's see. "Sir," the man replied, "leave it alone for 1 more year and I'll dig around it and fertilize it. If it bears fruit next year, fine. If not, then cut it down." That is good advice from the garden keeper.
Yeah, but so the whole fig tree thing is, supposed to be synonymous with like Jewish people. And all this other stuff, like the Jewish community, or just in this case, the Christian community. And so I don't know what it means by cut it down if, it bears no fruit. So the whole bearing fruit thing, at least in the Bible, is normally synonymous with like your actions, right? And so like, I don't know what it means by cut it down. Is like, I wonder if Jesus is talking about killing.
No, I think he's talking about like it basically cut it loose. Basically, it won't be part of the kingdom of heaven anymore. Like it's just let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go and burn in hell.
But he says, give it a chance. For the groundskeeper, he'll fertilize it. So he'll try to he'll give it the good stuff, right? Give it a chance. And if it doesn't do anything after it's fertilized, after it should be bearing good fruit,
then send it to hell.
Then fuck it up. Yeah, but give it a chance. All right. Fair. On a Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. So she's possessed with some sort of Jezebel, I'm sure. She was bent over, yet definitely a Jezebel. And could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hand on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue leader said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." I mean, he just put his hands on her. I don't know how this is hard work. Like, he just touched her.
Right. And I mean, come on.
Seems like a good thing.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like she was there necessarily to be healed. But
she was just there.
Yeah, she was just there.
Bent over.
But even...
which he probably felt was inappropriate.
And
depending on how short her skirt was, if you go to Catholic school, it's got to be past your fingertips.
Yeah. Is it past your fingertips? You don't cause lustful thoughts?
At public school, it's past your fingertips. At Catholic school, it's past your knees.
Over there in like Iran, it's just, full on black all over. And there's a slit. You get a slit for eyes.
Well, and to be fair, over there, they can't go to school. Girls can't go to school anymore.
Right.
So.
But anyways, so the woman's there, she's just there, and then Jesus heals her, and they're like, "The fuck are you doing, like, working on a Sabbath, motherfucker? Like, we don't do that around here."
Yeah, it's okay though. God answers though. You ready? Well, okay. The Lord answers. "You hypocrites, doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie your ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" When he said this, all of his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with all the wonderful things he was doing, but nobody wrote anything down about it.
No, well, except for, curing this woman's back problem from the demon. Like, also, if that were the case, like, it's not a demon that causes these kinds of ailments.
It's Satan. Yeah, he said so right there.
I mean, I'm talking about in reality.
Oh.
This is obviously not in reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for today.
Okay.
Next week, we're going to have some more parables. We're going to talk about Jesus teaching through parables. We're going to have parable of the sower.
Ooh, the sower. That's a good one.
Yeah. Also, Jesus is going to explain to us the purpose of the parables, okay? Which I think is important. Maybe he should have started that before we started parables.
Ooh, this is going to be a big highlight for mystery religions, I think, next week.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to explain the parable of the sower, right?
Right.
And we're going to have a parable about weeds. We have a company that comes and gets rid of all the weeds. So I don't know if we need a parable about it, but he's going to do that and then explain it. We're going to have a parable about a lighted lamp. Something about changing a light bulb or something like that. We're going to have a parable of seed growing and a parable of mustard seed, not mustard gas, mustard seed. These are two very different things. You cook with one, the other, not good.
How many Jesuses does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
Probably just one because it can just float up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes me to change a light bulb. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, am I like as good as Jesus?
Can you float up to it?
No, but I have this tool that I can get all the way to the top of our ceilings to get it. So
because we've got really tall ceilings.
I don't really need to float because I have a tool to do that. So
anyway,
parable of the yeast. We know that they hate yeast. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a parable of hidden treasure, a parable about a valuable pearl, a parable of a net, a parable about treasures, parables to fulfill prophecy. So we've got a lot of parables going on next week. It's a lot. We've got Matthew, Luke, Mark. I think that's all. Matthew, Mark, and Luke next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. So if you heathens out there want to learn more about parables, you'll have to tune in next week. But before you head out, why don't you go down below and let us know what you thought about today's Daily Bible Podcast. What'd you think about Jesus' teachings? Did any of them make sense to you? Because there were a couple where we were both pretty confused on. But let us know down below what you guys think. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like Daily Bible Podcasts like this.
And don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.